But what you see in the museums are the suits that they practiced with.
Yeah.
Because the actual suit, an Apollo suit, with the PLSS would be around 100 kilos. Something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty close, yeah.
It's actually 180 pounds. The suit was about 45 pounds and the PLSS was 140.
Yeah.
Well, when they're on that in a full simulation and you see them with the suit on, when they're on Earth practicing, there wouldn't be anything in the PLSS because you don't need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're on Earth practicing.
And it'd be too heavy.
Maybe a fan to blow some air around inside,
Yeah.
a little bit of a battery in your communication, right? Keep you cool, like practicing on Earth. And the rest of the suit would be a lot lighter. You wouldn't need 45 pounds of suit on there for practice. But when you look at the suits in the museum, that's all you see.
There went something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the zippers don't even go up tight. Like there's about an inch and a half short at the back where it zips up to the back side of the helmet. That wouldn't seal.
That's the other thing, too, and this is just purely common sense here. When you talked about this before, and I've always found it fascinating when you talk about the zippers in the suits, that how did they make sure, and it'd be too long to go into this right now, but I want people to think about this, or I'm asking people to think about this, how did they make sure that there wasn't any seepage from the atmosphere of the suit?
During qualification testing, suits are subjected to 10 times the design requirements of a lunar mission. Another critical area are the pressure tests. To be accepted, a spacesuit must have practically zero leakage when pressurized.
To outside, keeping in mind the hard vacuum of that environment on a lunar surface. I mean, these are all questions that NASA doesn't answer.
who's that Paulo Altavistamo, he's got a whole thing in his thing on the zippers and stuff, right? He's taking scuba diving zippers.
Yeah.
And of course, some of the Apollo suits that they practice with were in water tanks.
Yes.
So he would have had those on there.
That's right.
That's where they came from. The suits in the museum do not have any rubber on them.
And that's NASA's reply, by the way, to people who question, did you test the suits in a vacuum chamber? They said, well, we tested them underwater. And they tried to make that as adequate.
Right, that's a good idea.
And Gumdrop, you'll be getting a warning on your H2 tank in about 4 minutes.
Why don't you lean over here again? I'd sure like to get a picture of that whole scene. Okay, coming over.
As an adequate in lieu of testing the suits in the vacuum chamber, they tested them underwater, but they're two different environments here. They don't even compare.
What people need to understand is the difference between having a pressurized suit in a vacuum and being underwater. You don't need any structure in the suit to be underwater.
No.
Because you are using pressure inside the suit and match the pressure of the water. And when they're equal, there's no pressure on the suit itself. When you're in space, you have pressure inside and the vacuum on the outside. Or complete lack of, right? And then you have now combined force.
See, that's a very good point. And also to keep in mind for people that when the astronauts are testing those suits underwater, it's equivalent to let's say an Olympic-sized pool, we're not talking a lot of pressure per square inch on let's say an Olympic-sized pool, we're not talking a lot of pressure per square inch on the suit as opposed to if you were testing them deep in the ocean to come to some kind of, and again, there's no real comparison between what the atmospheric pressure is in the ocean compared to what you would have. You would have the opposite in the vacuum of space, but there's really no good comparison that NASA has been able to come up with other than to admit that they did not test these Apollo suits in their vacuum chambers.
Well, even today, no one has been inside the Glenn Research Center when that thing's been turned on. If vacuum is such little force, they should just have an airlock. People get in their suits, they go through the airlock, go inside, do all their practice, get 30, 40, 50 people in there working all the time, because it's 150 feet across this chamber.
Yeah.
Right? So you can put a lot of people in there and put equipment in and everything else and run it all through an airlock.